Recording will start soon. I think it'll prompt you to there we go. It says it is recording. So let me switch to present now. Present your screen. Yes, allow it. Okay. Yep, admit. Alrighty. I should be. Whoa! That's weird. Alright. That was just never ending. Alright. Someone, Chance, because you already spoken. Chance, can you see? I'll let you unmute real quick. Can you see the practice, the Jupyter open right now, the JunoPod?
No.
No, it's not on there.
It's I can see I can't really see the I can oh wait, no I just need zoomed in a little more.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. There you go. How's that?
Better?
Okay. So these are going to be set into 5 sections. 3 of them we already had on the quiz. All right, so we have writing an expression, which just a problem is described, and then we're writing what that problem would look like, right? There's no answer. You don't need to put equals, none of that stuff. Then we'll have evaluating, where they're like, here's what your variable, here's what your letter equals, and so just plug that in and solve. And then we'll have simplifying, right, where you put the things that are similar together. So it's excuse me. So it's an easier problem to read, so it's cleaner. Then we have greater than, less than, or equal to, which is very similar to evaluating. You just plug the number in and then compare. And the last one is solving. That's our most recent one, solving for the variable, all right? So our first one is just write as an expression. So add 7 to our add. It already says, excuse me, it already says it in the problem, 7 plus r, right? That's it, right? It's just that should, questions like this that literally say the word in it should hopefully be pretty straightforward for us, right? We're just writing an addition problem. We don't need equals. We don't need to guess what r is. That's where I saw some of my most common mistakes is students would then write equals 8, or if r equals 5, then that equals 12. Like, no, don't add stuff to it. I'm not asking you to make it up that much, right? Just write what would the problem look like when they've asked it like that. Okay. On to the next one. Subtract 6 from h. Now, this was, I guess, a couple weeks ago now, but this was one of those keywords, the word from. That's a keyword because it's going to tell us to flip it around. I saw a handful of people who on the quiz had 6 minus h, or a problem similar like that, and they had it backwards, and so they didn't get that one right, because with subtraction, unlike addition, like addition, I'd accept it either ways, because it doesn't matter. 5 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 5. But if we did, let's say h equaled 9, 9 minus 6 we can do. 6 minus 9, we haven't done that yet. That would give us a negative number, right? So when you see the word from, you got to flip it around, right? The h is what you're starting with, and you're taking 6 from it. You're taking the 6 away. Okay, on to the next one. Multiply 8 and w. All right, so 8 times w. That's just your first step. Let's just even just chunk it. 8 times w. A couple different ways we could do that. We could just do traditional 8 times w. We could do 8 asterisk w. That also is a way of showing multiplication. But I will say the most common way in algebra to show it is just 8w. And I really need to emphasize this because this is where I saw a lot of mistakes too. When you have a number and a letter next to each other, that shows multiplication. That is the most common way to show multiplication. Excuse me. In an algebra problem. I saw a lot of kids who saw this, and when it asked them to evaluate, they just stuck that in as a digit. So let's say if w is 4, they just wrote 84 instead of 8 times 4, right? So that is multiplication. All right, then it says, then divide by 6. Okay, if you don't want to use the special keyboard, we can just use a slash, divided by 6, right? Or we could go into the keyboard, just do basic math. There's our division sign. Bam, 8w divided by 6. Right, so all you really want to show is 8 times w in some fashion, and then divided by 6 in some fashion, right? No equals, none of that. Right, I'm going to keep us moving on this. The sum of 6s and 9. Well, sum means addition. Sum means addition. So we're just adding those two numbers, or those two values. That's it. right? I often make this mistake too. Sum is addition, product is multiplication, right? I often flip those, so be careful there. Divide 3k by 2. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to use the division sign that is a slash. But again, as always, you can just go on the keyboard. Whoop. You can go to the keyboard and use that division sign, right? Again, just the basic math keyboard. Okay. All right, that's our last one like that there. Next, we are simplifying. Again, you're just putting things together that are similar. All right, so starting here, all of these have the letter x, so they can all go together. All right, so we have 3x plus 6x. That is 9x. Minus 4x. That's 5x. And then plus one more x, right? If the letter's just by itself, that just means there's one more of those. So that would give us 6x, right? 3 plus 6 is 9. Minus 4 is 5. Plus one more is 6x. And that's it, and you're done. That's just, you're taking the problem and making it easier to read, or putting together the things that can go together. Okay, next, same thing. We have just the letter y in all of these, so we can just combine like normal math. 7y plus 2y, that's 9y, minus 3 equals 6y. I should say minus 3y. If that was just a minus 3, we couldn't combine it. Okay, next one. 5m plus 6 plus 4m. Now this one's a little bit more complicated, right? We have 5m, we have a 4m, but the 6 does not have an m. All right, if you click it twice, it reads it to you. All right, so 5m and plus 4m can go together because they both have the letter m. And we know to add them because there's an addition sign in front of this second term. So 5 plus 4 is 9m. And then the plus 6 is left over. We can't do anything with that, so it just stays as it is in the problem. Okay. Number 9, we have 9n minus 4 plus 6n. Again, we have 2 that have the same letter and 1 that does not have a letter. So 9n plus 6n, that is 15n. And then again, the minus 4 is all by itself, so we can't do anything with that. So it just stays as it is in the problem. Okay? I'll do one more. That's the last simplifying one. I'm going to pause to take questions. All right. In this question, we have 3 parts here that have the letter P, all right? So we can just say that there's a lot of P in this problem. Joke intended. I can't say those when I'm like normally doing it, so I got to get them in when we do these live things. So, ha ha ha, Mr. Dietzen told a potty joke. Anyways, I can't see any of your faces, so I don't know if anyone thought that was funny. I'm just going to pretend you all thought that was the most hilarious thing in your life, and you can't focus anymore because I'm so funny. Anyways, 4 plus... Oh, man, okay. I'm so tired. Anyways, 4 plus 9 is 13, and then one more. There's the 5p, that is 18p. All right, so all of those have the letter P, so we can combine them. 4 plus 9 plus 5. And then again, the minus 8 stands alone because it does not have a letter. Okay, and we say minus 8 because that is what is together. All right, so I'm going to switch back. It'll let me. Okay, whoa. Okay, I'm going to stop presenting for a second. Okay, does anyone have, oh, the chat's blown up. Does anyone have any questions about this? So type in the chat, I have a question, and then I can call on someone, and I can go back to a problem or anything like that. So anyone have any questions? Okay, Glenn doesn't have any questions. Anyone else have any questions? Oh, I saw some type it in there. Okay. Oh, okay. That question was about that. Looks like we're set. Yeah, I mean, no one's really spoken up too much. All right, let's resume then. Parentheses. Oh, a question about parentheses in problems. Parentheses. Oh, yes, we'll get to that. That's in the last section. That's when we're solving for the variable. You go that you do order of operations backwards. Yeah, so parentheses would be last. Yeah, Chance, what's your question, dude? You can unmute. What's your question?
I don't understand when you do the like when you like the I don't understand what to do because I'll add the what is it? I'll add the
simplifying that we just did.
No, not the simplifying. I know that. I know how to do that. It's just the
Okay.
problem where it's like where you have the where you have the number, then the two letters. I mean, not the two letters. Then you have the six, like the variable. I
Okay.
don't understand how to do that because I don't understand how to do that.
When there's a number and a variable next to each other, is that what you're talking about?
Mhm. Yes.
That means multiplying.
Oh,
So
okay.
if I had so for example, here I'm gonna write this on the board. If I had and we're gonna probably this will be our next section, I'm guessing. If I have a problem that says 7m, and then it said, what would your answer be if m equals 2? Okay, so what that's telling us is 7 times whatever m is. So 7
So
times,
7 times 2. Okay.
right, which would equal
14.
14. Yep, there's your answer. So that's how you would do that problem. So again, when you see a variable next to a number, that just shows multiplying. Okay? All right, let's get back. I'm going to switch to presenting, and I'm going, yes,
My phone
allow,
keeps blowing up.
and I will switch over back to this. Okay. So on to the next problem. Oh, greater than, less than, or equal to. That's the next section, all right? This, though, is we're just plugging in the number and solving. So it's saying a equals 6, and we have the problem 2a plus 7 is either greater than, less than, or equal to 16. So what that, I have a pop-up in the chat. Let me look real quick. Oops. Oh, it just says oops. Okay. 2a plus 7, so we're going to have to solve that. So again, we see 2a, that means 2 times whatever a is. A is 6. So 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 7 is 19. So 19 is greater than 16. Next one. A is still 6. I think it's 6 for all these problems. I took these directly from the test. I just copied and pasted, which made it easy. So we have 4 times 6, right? They're next to each other. It's multiplication. Oops, someone wants in. Hold on. That's Luke. Okay. Anyways, we have 4 times 6. That's 24. So that's what we got there. 24 divided by 3 equals 8. So 8 is less than 9. So let me go back to that one. Here's where I've seen mistakes sometimes is when it says 4a, some kids are just putting the 6 for the a, and so they write 46. And that's what I was talking about. That's not what that means. Again, a letter next to a number. I know I've been saying this a lot in this, but especially for kids who aren't here to watch this, I really want to emphasize that. They'll watch it later on YouTube. Letter next to a number, multiply. Okay, let's go to the next one. 5a is greater than or less than or equal to a plus 32. So let's solve the first one. 5a, that means 5 times a. So 5 times 6 is 30. And over here, 6 plus 32 is 38. So 30 is less than 38. A plus 12 divided by 2, greater than, less than, or equal to 8. So 6 plus 12 is 18. Divided by 2 is 9. 9 is greater than 8. Last one. 6a divided by 12 and 9 minus a. So again, a is 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 9 minus 6 is also 3. So those two problems are equal. It's going to go to the next one. Hold on. So again, we're just solving each side if a equaled 6, and if our answers, then you just choose greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, next. Evaluate. This is the same thing. You're just plugging stuff in, right? So we have 5y, again, multiplication, 5 times y minus 14. So 5 times 5 is 25, minus 14 is 11. 7y plus 15 divided by 10. We got parentheses here. So in this case, order of operations still applies. So 7y, 7 times 5, that's 35, plus 15 equals 50. So we did the parentheses. Divided by 10 gives us 5. Next one. 25 divided by y plus 16. So 25 divided by 5 equals 5. Then plus 16 gives us 21. 11, all right, this little asterisk, remember that's another way of showing multiplication. We also have parentheses here, so one step at a time. Y plus 8, so 5 plus 8, that's 13 times 11. 13 times 11, right? We could write that down. I'm going to do some mental math here. 13 times 10 is 130, plus 13 more, right? Because it's just one more than that, is 143. But as always, you can stack and multiply or do any, other multiplication methods. Just 11 times 13. Next, 12y over 6. All right, so to start on top, we have 12 times y, so 5 times 12, that's 60. So you could think of this as an improper fraction, 66, or this is another way of just showing 60 divided by 6. That's 10. Okay, here's the last one. And this is where you're solving for the variable. And I feel like this is one we didn't get a lot of practice on. It was the last thing we learned. And the way I like to think of it, some people call it balancing the equation, where you do the same thing on either side. I like to think of it as just undoing the problem or working the problem backwards. So what this problem is essentially asking is, whatever r is, that's what we're trying to find out, plus 13 gives us 31. So you think of it as what plus 13 equals 31, right? And some of you could probably do that mentally. But in order to do that, is we added 13 to this number. To get back to it, we're going to undo that plus 13. Or we're going to do the opposite of plus 13. We're going to subtract. So 31 minus 13 equals 18, right? And you can check that then. Is 18 plus 13 31? Yeah, it is. Right? That's the one way you can check it, is just plug the number back in and see if the problem works. Okay. Same with over here. R minus 22 equals 14. Something, when we take 22 away from it, equals 14. So let's put that 22 right back into it. Opposite of minus 22, or to undo minus 22, we're going to add 22. 14 plus 22 equals 36. Right, and we could plug that back in. Is 36 minus 22 14? Yeah, it is. All right, we're almost done, and then I'll take questions, because I'm guessing in this section and maybe another section, it's a little bit is where I'll see the most questions. 6r equals 54. Again, that's multiplication. We got to think, what times 6 equals 54? If we know our math facts, that's probably pretty quick. But if you don't remember off the top of your head, you can think, well, how do I undo multiplying by 6? What is the opposite of that? So the opposite of times 6 is divided by 6. And so if we divide 54 by 6, we get 9, right? And so we can think, is 9 times 6 54? Yeah, it is. Okay, next, these last two, we have 2 steps to it, all right? And Tobin kind of alluded to this, is since we're doing the problem backwards, since we're undoing things to get back to find what that value is, we need to do order of operations backwards, right? And so PEMDAS is usually you do parentheses first, then any multiplication or division, then any addition or subtraction. So since we're going backwards, we got to do, it's not PEMDAS, it would be DASMEP. Something like, no, you had to be SADMEP. That doesn't roll as well, but whatever. SADMEP, right? And so we're going backwards. So the opposite of minus 12, or to undo minus 12, we're going to add 12 back into the problem. So 32 plus 12 is 44. And then we have something times 4 equals 44. And hopefully by then we can do a lot of that mentally, right? Think, what times 4 equals 44? Well, that's 11, right? Or we could just think 44, opposite of times 4 is divided by 4. So 44 divided by 4 is 11. And you can plug that back into the problem and see if it works. 4 times 11 is 44, minus 12 does in fact equal 32. Okay, so all we did was the opposite of minus 12, which was plus 12. and the opposite of times 4, which was divided by 4. Last one. We got parentheses here, so again, usually we do that first. In this case, we do it last. So to undo minus 8, we're going to do plus 8. 13 plus 8 equals 21. And then to undo divided by 4, opposite of division is multiplication. So times 4, 21 times 4 is 84. Okay. So before I quit out of this, I'm going to switch back and stop presenting. Chat is blowing up. Well, close your, just people talking about that. Okay. Question here. Does anyone have any questions or something that they would like to see some additional problems on or some extra practice? If so, type it up in the chat. And so our categories, to help you out if you're not sure, is there exponent? No exponents in that. We haven't learned that, so no need to worry there. So we have the first 5 questions are writing expressions. Then we had simplifying. Then we had
I have a
comparing, right?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many questions are there?
25, just like you saw on it's the practice test, right? We would do normally in class. The practice test is exactly as the normal test would be set up.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be in that order too. I'll double check today, but the Juno pods, when you make them, they have it set up to put the questions in random order, and so I don't like that, and so I uncheck that. Excuse you. I don't know. Dogs are barking. Anyways, and then solving for the variable. So it should. Vote for y'all, but choose for this one. Are you going to give us review questions over the weekend? I am not, but what I can do is there's an extra practice workbook, and I can, after we're done with this, I can send that out along with the video, and just if you want to look over more of the problems and practice some, I can send that out. Another recommendation I give to a lot of people, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but if you kids reached out, is often on the website. Well, they have a YouTube page too, but Khan Academy usually has explanations and practice problems on there that I've seen kids.
They also have a website.
Yeah, they have a
My
website.
mom lets me do it.
Yeah, they have extra practice problems, and then I can look for others, but those are probably the main sources for stuff like that. But does anyone, looking at these categories, is there anyone here, and don't feel shy if you're the only one who says something, I'm still going to go over it, and everyone will benefit. So does anyone want to go over any of these categories? Writing, comparing, evaluating, or where would we go? Writing, simplifying, greater than, less than, or equal to, evaluating, or simplifying. Anyone have any of those categories? Some more simplifying? Yeah, definitely. All right, let me write down a problem, and we'll work through it together. So let's do, I think the ones where everything is the same are pretty easy, because you're just adding numbers, and adding and subtracting numbers, and there's just a letter involved. So let's do some where there's ones that have a letter and some that don't. So let's go with like 6m plus 8 minus 2m, right? So we have 6m plus 8 minus 2m. And what I would recommend when you guys are working on this, and I think the video that I included with the pod for this is it did the same thing, and I'll show you this in just a second. If I see things that are similar, I like to put a box around them, right? So when I'm doing my work, I'm going to both of those have the letter M, so I'm going to put a box around it. So we have 6m and minus 2m, and those can go together. So 6m minus 2m, 6 minus 2, that gives us 4m. And then the plus 8 is left over, right? And so we just throw that on the end. And there's our answer, right? We can't go any simpler than that because the 8 does not have the letter M. Okay, let's do another one, but where we have 4 things, right? Because we saw that as one of the last questions in that section. Is we had, let's go with 5R plus 8 plus 3R minus 5. Let me look at the question just popped up. What if there is 3 of the letter things? Oh, that's like what we saw in the last one. I'll get to that in just a second. With that, you can still combine all 3 of those. So just a second. So looking at this problem here, we have 2 variables that have the letter R and 2 that do not have any letters. So the way I like to differentiate, and you don't have to use these, you could use colors. Sometimes that's fun, right? To box them so you know what goes together. So the 5R and the 3R go together, and there's a plus sign with that second one. So 5 plus 3 is 8R. Then the 8 and the 5 I've circled because they go together, but they aren't similar to the ones in the squares. So we have 8 minus 5. Well, 8 minus 5 is 3. So we have 8R plus 3. Okay. But here, I'll do one last one. Like Gabby had asked if there's 3 with a letter and one that does not, right? So if I had like 7p plus 3p minus 6 minus 2p. All right, now let's go with minus 5p. There we go. So here's our problem. So we have 7p plus 3p minus 2 minus 5p. All right, so all the ones that have the letter p can go together. All right, all of those, they all can be put together. So 7 plus 3 minus 5. 7 plus 3 is 10. Minus 5 leaves us with 5p. And then the only thing that's left over is that minus 6. So we're left with 5p minus 6. And that's as simple as it gets. Anyone else have any other questions evaluating or solving for the variable or anything like that? If not, feel free to reach out to me if you have questions today or over the weekend. I'm not going to direct this out longer than it needs to be, but I will. I'm glad someone asked. I will send out the extra practice problems. They will be completely optional, but it might be an opportunity for you to get some extra practice on questions like this in anticipation of Monday's test. Okay? If there are no other questions, I'm going to sign off, and you guys have a great weekend. All right? So here's last call. Last call. Any questions? Going once.
No.
Going twice.
Nope. Going 3 times. Going 1 time. Going
Alrighty,
done
guys.
time.
We are done. I will see y'all around. Hopefully, maybe next Thursday when we do the parade at the school for everyone to drive through and say hey. I think more information will be
Mr.
sent about
Dietzen,
that
I'll
soon.
see you in a few minutes.
Oh yeah, well yeah, my class has a hangout in an hour and a half. Yeah, so we'll see. I'll see my class then. But I hope this helped y'all, and we'll. Good luck. Have a good weekend, guys.
All right.
I'm out.
Bye.
Bye.